How far are you willing to go within the facility? With every step, every choice leading you somewhere, unraveling a mystery that lives within this pure black and white space. Repose came out on April 14th, 2025 with a very positive rating on Steam with only 97 reviews connected to the game. A sci-fi game where you only have so much movement in your test to reach deep within the wired-filled walls. If you're interested in this game, this is my warning. Click off the video and play the game. And for the people that are still here, let's reach the end of this mystery. We open the game immediately seeing another person being ripped apart.
Hi guys!
After that event, we learn the controls first, and with this little square being the amount of steps we're able to take before passing out. But that doesn't matter since we get killed by this freakish human creature, suddenly waking up in front of a woman. This is when we're briefed about the situation, first being that this is the first day being within the company, with the woman we're talking to named Cynthia, now being given the task to collect the lost oxygen tanks within the facility, with the final message being to not disappear like Aaron. With that, we get thrown into the world, with our only weapon being an axe. It's not long before we encounter the first enemy needing to charge up the axe and strike him. This is also when the death count begins to bloat with our first of many deaths, with many more deaths after. We then reach the first computer needed. These computers unlock the many steel doors and will stay unlocked upon death. While in the new area, we reach the first corpse and grab the first oxygen tank. This is easier than I thought, but I'm sure I'll eat those words sooner rather than later. More death happens, with us reaching the second rest spot, now encountering the missing person that Cynthia talked about earlier. He begins congratulating us on a not so bad start, yet we learn we're not talking to him in person, rather we're talking through dreams. He first warns us about needing his help, tasking us to reach the data tunnels, but first we need to search the abandoned buildings. Within the buildings there seems to be a tunnel for us to reach. He gives us one last warning about sleeping, stating, "Who knows what they're doing to you while you're not paying attention?" I had no idea either. The expedition starts again, racking up the deaths once again. This isn't good on my gaming record, is it? But at least I found another human being named Joseph, who warns us about the featureless maze behind him. Anyone who enters never returns, yet there's something special. He does bring up Aaron once more, saying that what he did in the past is what we're doing right now. Before the whole vanishing, Joseph did point out that he seemed to be quite connected with Cynthia. Maybe Cynthia knows the answer. Thanks, man. See you around. So with that, we leave Joseph, find another bed, and now with us talking to Joseph for the second time. But now Aaron is offering his assistance to help us escape and not end up like the other astronauts. But first we need to reach the bottom. Within the abandoned buildings, we find our first of 3 coded notes, yet the person who wrote it seems to be unnamed, but they mention the employee of the month named Freda. What's strange is that any person made employee of the month disappears shortly after. But that's not all, since the note contains a piece of the combo we'll need to solve this wreck of a wasteland, with us adding more death to the pile right after that. Upon surviving for longer than a minute, we find the first British station, allowing us to have a backup energy source while exploring, only allowing us to carry one, and upon using it reveals us on the map. The T lets us leave the abandoned buildings and enter the city, and now into the Aaron speaks to us once again, warning us about the light bulbs that live here, with them being immune to the axe. So to combat that, we now have a gun. We're all set now, or I would think that we were if it didn't cost us 5 energy to fire a bullet. The tunnels are complex and unknown, with us taking out residents and getting kicked out myself. A new note was found. From what is written, it seems like these tunnels were meant to travel data, yet it seems to be all gibberish and nothing more. With enough stubbornness, we get out of here, jumping further down the rabbit hole. Aaron talks to us once again, letting us know that Joseph is wrong. Cynthia won't be able to tell you what happened to me. He lets us know as well that she's been following us since the data tunnels, now having us to look for an elevator south of the wire hub. The thick wired walls are hard to figure out, with a barrier blocking one of the ways. Within the wires we find the second piece of the code, with 2 new enemies. A bed mimic because f your happiness and some monitor creature, while also getting sent into a depression by having my soul crushed by this computer mimic, but at least we have a sturdy lock. Now, with more deaths added to the count, we enter the wire hub, reaching unsettling filled walls, with a quick haste to reach the other side of the barrier, grabbing a key card giving us VIP. But the card allows us to break down the barriers with our gun. We then reach the elevator arc and get an anime intro. Okay, with that done, we meet Employee of the Year. Show off. The key card seems to also be hers as well. It also led us to her domain where she can keep an eye on us, within the land of the dead internet. The new enemies block our path and require the Glock. We find a totally normal note with more death ensue, with a clean killing spree. We'll also learn the new debuff, Zeus's bullshit. If we run into the lightning, our walking cost goes up. Instead of it going down by 1, it goes down by 2 and doubles for every time we run into it. We can however cure it with tea. Within the lightning filled tunnels, we find the what the f is that? Cleanse it with bullets! Upon the moonlit wires, we find Cynthia lying on the ground. She immediately knows us about us talking to Aaron and him helping us get out of here. After all, she's talking to him as well, but she can't decipher anything. She begins informing us that we're most likely not anywhere on Earth. In hindsight, that should have been obvious too. Like, do you remember ever getting, you know, paid since you work here? Fair point. We'll continue onward. However, we talk to Aaron once again. He points out that this might be a dream too, and that there might not be a clear line between dreaming and wakefulness, while also mentioning that the Employee of the Year isn't real, while also saying nothing is even real on level 5. The facade seems to be designed to do one thing, to cover up the bottom. We finally get to see the guide's face telling us to continue and find the boss. Off the bat, we find another note informing us that this, the bottom, the end, is the foundation. What used to be communities here, but now, is empty husks of homes and dead internet. This seems to be what used to be a society. After some killing and exploring, we finally meet up with the boss. It begins to question us already, being unsurprised by our natural human curiosity, since that's what led all other astronauts here. He then explains our mistakes, that us as humans left a great ton of debris in space, the satellites, machinery, used oxygen tanks, and the corpses of failed astronauts. All the waste we made in through into space is what made this planet exist. With that note, he discards us with some hurtful words, and because of that, I pop a bullet into him, which does nothing. But we do get, I didn't even wear a tie to work anymore. We continue the journey once more, traveling all the way back to level 2, meeting Joseph once again, with him being surprised by our own survival. He also knows the same secret that we do. He's bothered by it, but he's accepted it now. Not the company though, since whatever we did down there caused the entire city to be raided. Our only option now is to enter the maze. With that, he says goodbye and we enter the maze. And die. A lot. Only because of my stupidity. We meet Aaron once again. He gives us our last encouragement and to follow the lines on the walls to freedom. This place is truly a maze, upping the deaths by quite a bit. Yet I find the final note needed for the code, find the dead Aaron, and can what only be assumed as the photo shoot with everyone. And with that, we make it to the end. We're not done yet though. We have 5 more achievements to grab. First using the code I got, and then putting it in, sending us into the deep dive. Off the bat we find a note and our goal to complete. With some kills added to the belt, we find the second note talking about level 5, saying level 5 is the physical limit in depth, while the dead zone can be reached through the subconscious. The dead zone seems to also be the trash bin for the company. With that I only died 3 times and reach the end with Freda here. We begin to chat and learn that Freda and the Employee of the Year are 2 separate people. The Employee of the Year is just an AI version of Freda, while the actual Freda was banished by the company. However, she finds the place quite peaceful, the lonely silence. She tells us to leave and get home, so I listen to her. As we look into the sky of all its lights dying out, the photo breaks apart in my hand and we get more than deserved. I next focus on the 2 smaller achievements, one for grabbing a tea while on top of a bed, grabbing getting too comfortable. Next is sleep deprived, which requires me to be killed by a bed mimic, which I did in the past, but I guess you need specific conditions to get it. So with some attempts we do eventually get it, and I'm not adding it to the death count. Hey, I wasn't gonna add it. Editor me, what the hell did you do? You son of a bitch! For the last achievement, we have to find another code. However, what makes this last achievement in the roster so difficult is the timing. When I had obtained the other achievements, the content update hadn't come out yet, and I spent around 2 hours trying to figure it out. But eventually the stars aligned and the update was released. Even with the update, it was still quite the process, since I had tried hunting for it as soon as the update came out. There were no guides for it, so it was just a blind man wandering. But eventually, I decided to reinvestigate the dead zone and found our key to the achievement. Upon typing the new code in, we reached the last and final area, giving me 290 energy, while also having no use of the map besides just so this is not a hopeful start, and it's not. This place has new floating enemies that are luckily weak against the light stick, finally a use for this thing. But regardless of that, this place is sick and twisted, with me getting lost for a long ass time and more death in the process. But we make progress and encounter the second new enemy of the area. He kills me right off the bat, but we do get right back to it, and kill it with a shot from the pistol and an axe swing. We die some more, but we do reach the end. We find Cynthia alone. She's surprised that we haven't left yet, but she's happy about it. We begin to chat and she brings up the astronauts, figuring out why they came here. From within the scraps of data that she's been able to decipher, astronauts came here because Earth was inhabitable. It's scrapped. Yet it's the exact same here too, with its trash landscape and dead internet. Yet, where are they supposed to go now? It's hard to make a comparison though, considering the company got rid of our memories when we landed here, and it's easier to accept your reality if you don't know any better, right? Which I suppose is fair. After all, she encountered the boss right after us, expecting it to be evil, yet it wasn't. It can't be. Only us humans have that trait. So with this plan unsavable and most likely the same for Earth, we can make one last choice against the company. A way to stop this from ever continuing. We can shut this place down. With nowhere to go, we can stay here and end this. So we do. Trading in noise for silence. Repose is certainly an interesting game, with a story requiring me to use my brain. I would give this game 5 out of 10 oxygen tanks in the fun factor, and 2 out of 10 save states in the difficulty factor. This game was more interesting in the concept than fun. I did sorta like the puzzle aspect of the game, and even the save states, even though a lot of people are going to dislike it, and rightfully so. However, the game does tell you what your last one was, so I guess it's all water under the bridge. But I believe it brings the game down to some extent. I do like the idea of the save states being used for secret rooms, but outside of that, I feel like it causes more problems than anything. The game is also quite bland. The art style is good, but nothing else really stands out. I feel as though completing the puzzles were just nothing, not requiring much brain cells. So do I recommend this game? Not really. I could recommend this game as someone who's really looking for this kind of game. It's just okay. But I feel like it's worth $8. But I'll put this game in your hands. Make your own choice. And with that, stay chill and watch some anime.